Okay, so if you look up in the upper right
Mhm.
of your Zoom screen at the top, you'll see a thing that says YouTube. That means that we're live now.
Yeah.
And Owen is here, so we need to add Owen on.
Okay.
And I will invite Joe to begin the reading.
Alone, what did bloom here? The double reverberation of retreating feet on the heaven-born earth. The double vibration of a Jew's harp in the resonant lane. Alone, what did Bloom feel? The cold of interstellar space, thousands of degrees below freezing point, or the absolute zero of Fahrenheit, centigrade, or Graham, the incipient intimations of proximate dawn. Of what did bell chime and hand touch and footstep and lone chill remind him? Of companions now in various manners in different places defunct. Percy Apjohn killed in action, Modder River. Philip Gilligan, Stysis, Jervis Street Hospital. Matthew F. Kane, accidental drowning, Dublin Bay. Philip Moiselle, Paima, Hitsbury Street. Michael Hart, Stysis, Mater Misericordiae Hospital. Patrick Dignam, apoplexy, Sandymount. What prospect of what phenomena inclined him to remain?
Mm.
The desperation of three final stars, the diffusion of daybreak, the apparition of a new solar disk. Had he ever been a spectator of those phenomena? Once in 1887, after a protracted performance of charades in the house of Luke Doyle Kimmage, he had awaited with patience the apparition of the diurnal phenomenon. Seated on a wall, his gaze turned in the direction of Mizrach, the east. He remembered the initial paraphenomena, more active air, a matutinal distant cock, ecclesiastic clocks at various points, avine music, the isolated thread of an early wayfarer, the visible diffusion of the light of an invisible luminous body, the first golden limb of the resurgent sun, perceptible low on the horizon. Katrina.
Did he remain? With deep inspiration, he returned, retraversing the garden and re-entering the passage, reclosing the door. With brief suspiration, he reassembled the candle, reascended the stairs, reapproached the door of the front room, hall floor, and re-entered. What suddenly arrested his ingress? The right temporal lobe of the hollow sphere of his cranium came into contact with the solid timber angle where, an infinitesimal but sensible fraction of a second later, a painful sensation was located in consequence of antecedent sensations transmitted and registered. Describe the alterations effected in the disposition of the articles of furniture. A sofa upholstered in prune plush had been translocated from the opposite door to the angle side near the compactly furled Union Jack, an alteration which he had frequently intended to execute. The blue and white checker inlaid majolica top table had been placed opposite the door in the place vacated by the prune plush sofa. The walnut sideboard, a projecting angle of which had momentarily arrested his ingress, had been moved from its position beside the door to a more advantageous but more perilous position in front of the door. Two chairs had been moved from right and left of the angle side to the position originally occupied by the blue and white checker inlaid majolica top table. Describe them. One, a squat, stuffed easy chair with stout arms extended and back slanted to the rear, which, repelled in recoil, had then upturned an irregular fringe of a rectangular rug, and now displayed on its amply upholstered seat a centralized diffusing and diminishing discoloration. The other, a slender splayfoot chair of glossy cane curves, placed directly opposite the former, its frame from top to seat and from seat to base being varnished dark brown, its seat being a bright circle of white plated rush. What significance is attached to these two chairs? Significance of similitude, of posture, symbolism, of circumstantial evidence, of testimonial supermanence. What occupied the position originally occupied by the sideboard? A vertical piano, Cadby, with exposed keyboard, its closed coffin supporting a pair of long yellow ladies' gloves, and an emerald ashtray containing 4 consumed matches, a partly consumed cigarette, and 2 discolored ends of cigarettes. Its music rest supporting the music in the key of G, natural for voice and piano, of Old Love's Sweet Song, words by G. Clifton Bingham, composed by J. L. Malloy, sung by Madame Antoinette Sterling. Open at the last page with the final indication ad libitum, forte, pedal, animato, sustained pedal, ritirando, close. Next, please, David.
With what sensations did Bloom contemplate and rotate in rotation these objects? With strain elevating a candlestick, with pain feeling on his right temple, a contused tumescence, with attention focusing his gaze on a large, dull, passive, and slender, bright active, with solicitation bending and downturning the upturned rug fringe, with amusement remembering Dr. Malachi Mulligan's scheme of color containing the gradation of green, with pleasure repeating the words and antecedent act and perceiving through various channels of internal sensibility the consequent and concomitant tepid pleasant diffusion of gradual discoloration. His next proceeding, from an open box on the majolica-topped table, he extracted a black diminutive cone, 1 inch in height, placed it on its circular base on a small tin plate, placed his candlestick on the right corner of the mantelpiece, produced from his waistcoat a folded page of prospectus illustrated, entitled Agenda Nataeum, unfolded the same, examined it superficially, rolled it into a thin cylinder, ignited it in the candle flame, applied it when ignited to the apex of the cone till the latter reached the stage of rutilance, placed the cylinder in the basin of the candlestick, disposing its unconsumed part in such a manner as to facilitate total combustion. What followed this operation? That truncated conical crater summit of the diminutive volcano emitted a vertical and serpentine fume redolent of aromatic oriental incense. Next reader.
What homothetic objects, other than the candlestick, stood on the mantelpiece? A timepiece of striated Connemara marble, stopped at the hour of 4:46 a.m. on the 21st of March, 1896. Matrimonial gift of Matthew Dillon. A dwarf tree of glacial arborescence under a transparent bell shade. Matrimonial gift of Luke and Carolyn Doyle. An embalmed owl. Matrimonial gift of Alderman John Hooper. What interchanges of looks took place between these 3 objects and Bloom? In the mirror of the gilt-boarded pier glass, the undecorated back of the dwarf tree regarded the upright back of the embalmed owl. Before the mirror, the matrimonial gift of Alderman John Hooper, with a clear, melancholy, wise, bright, motionless, compassionate gaze, regarded Bloom. while Bloom, with obscure, tranquil, profound, motionless, compassionated gaze, regarded the matrimonial gift of Luke and Carolyn Doyle. What composite asymmetrical image in the mirror then attracted his attention? The image of a solitary ipso-relative, mutable alio-relative man. Why solitary ipso-relative? Brothers and sisters had he none, yet that man's father was his grandfather's son. Why mutable alio-relative? From infancy to maturity, he had resembled his maternal procreatrix. From maturity to senility, he would increasingly resemble his paternal procreator. What final visual impression was communicated to him by the mirror? The optical reflection of several inverted volumes, improperly arranged and not in the order of their common letters, with scintillating titles on the two bookshelves opposite. Next, please.
Catalogue these books. Tom's Dublin Post Office Directory, 1886. Dennis Florence McCarthy's Poetical Work, copper beechleaf bookmark at page 5. Shakespeare's Works, dark crimson morocco, gold tooled. The Useful Ready Reckoner, brown cloth. The Secret History of the Court of Charles II, red cloth, tooled binding. The Child's Guide, blue cloth. When We Were Boys, by William O'Brien, MP, green cloth, slightly faded, envelope, bookmark at page 217. Thoughts from Spinoza, maroon leather. The Story of the Heavens by Sir Robert Ball, blue cloth. Ellis's 3 Trips to Madagascar, brown cloth, title obliterated. The Stark Munro Letters by A. Conan Doyle, property of the City of Dublin Public Library, 106 Capel Street, lent 21 May, Whitsun Eve, 1904, due 4th June, 1904, 13 days overdue. Black cloth binding bearing white letter number ticket. Voyages in China by Viator, recovered with brown paper, red ink title. Philosophy of the Talmud, stone pamphlet. Lockhart's Life of Napoleon, cover wanting, marginal annotations, minimizing victories, aggrandizing defeats of the protagonist. Soll und Haben by Gustav Freytag, blackboard, Gothic characters, cigarette coupon bookmark at page 24. Next, please.
Hozier's History of the Russo-Turkish War, brown cloth, 2 volumes, with gummed label, Garrison Library, Governor's Palace, Gibraltar, on verge of cover. Lawrence Bloomfield in Ireland by William Allingham, 2nd edition, green cloth, gilt trefoil design, previous owner's name on recto of flyleaf erased. A Handbook of Astronomy, cover, brown leather, detached, 5 plates, antique letterpress, long primer, author's footnotes, non-pareil, marginal clues, brevier, captions, small pica. The Hidden Life of Christ, blackboards. In the Track of the Sun, yellow cloth, title page missing. The current title, Intestation, Physical Strength and How to Obtain It by Eugene Sandow, red cloth. Sharp but yet plain elements of geometry, written in French by F. Ignace Paredes and rendered into English by John Harris, D.D., London, printed for R. Knaplock at the Bishop's Head, MDCCXI with dedicatory epitaph to his worthy friend Charles Cox, Esquire, Member of Parliament for the Burgh of Southwark, and having ink calligraphed statement on the flyleaf, certifying that the book was the property of Michael Gallagher, dated this 10th day of May 1822, and requesting the person who should find it, if the book should be left or go astray, to return it to Michael Gallagher, carpenter, Duffrey Gate in Escorty, County Wicklow, the finest place in the world. What reflections occupied his mind during the process of reversion of the inverted volumes? The necessity of order, a place of everything, and everything in its place. The deficient appreciation of literature possessed by females. The incongruity of an apple incognated in the tumbler and of an umbrella inclined in a closed stool. The insecurity of hiding any secret document behind, beneath, or between the pages of a book. Which volume was the largest in bulk? Hozier's History of the Russo-Turkish War. Next, please. Duncan, I think.
All righty, thank you. What, among other data, did the second volume of the work in question contain? The name of a decisive battle, forgotten, frequently remembered by a decisive officer, Major Brian Cooper Tweedy, remembered. Why, firstly and secondly, did he not consult the work in question? Firstly, in order to exercise meminal technique. Secondly, because after an interval of amnesia, when seated at the central table, about to consult the work in question, he remembered the meminal technique, the name of the military engagement, Plevna. What caused him consolation in his sitting posture? The candor, nudity, pose, tranquility, youth, grace, sex. Counsel of a statue erect in the center of the table, an image of Narcissus, purchased by auction from P.A. Wren, 9 Bachelor's Walk. What caused him irritation in his sitting position? Inhibitory pressure of the collar, size 17, and waistcoat, 5 buttons. 2 articles of clothing, superfluous, and the costume of mature males, and inelastic to alterations of mass by expansion. Next reader, please.
How was the irritation allayed? He removed his collar, which contained black necktie and collapsible stud, from his neck to a position on the left of the table. He unbuttoned successfully in reverse direction waistcoat, trousers, shirt, and vest along the medial line of irregular, inscripted black hairs extending in triangles from the pelvic basin over the circumference of the abdomen and the umbilicular fossa along the medial line of nodes to the intersection of the 6 pectoral vertebrae, hence produced both ways at right angles and terminating in circles, described about 2 requisite points, right and left, on the summits of the mammary prominences. He unbraced successfully each of 6 -1 braced trouser buttons, arranged in pairs, of which 1 incomplete. What involuntary actions followed? He compressed between a finger the flesh circumjacent to psychiatry in the left infracostal region below the diaphragm, resulting from a sting inflicted 2 weeks and 3 days previously. 2 weeks and 3 days previously, 23rd of May 1904, by a bee. He scratched severely with his right hand to insensible of various points and surfaces of his partly exposed, wholly obliterated skin. He inserted his left hand into the left lower pocket of his waistcoat and extracted and replaced the silver coin, 1 shilling. Placed 3 there, presumably on the occasion 17th of October 1903 of the interment of Mrs. Emily Sinico Sidney Parade. Compiled the budget for the 16th of June 1904. Deaths. Debit. Poor kidney, 3 pence. 1 copy Freeman's Journal, 1 pence. 1 bath and gratification, 1 shilling 6 pence. Tram fare, 1 pence. Memoroni Patrick Dignam, 1 shilling. Banbury cakes, 1 pence. Lunch, 7 pence. Renewal for the fee for the book, 1 shilling. Packet of notepaper and envelopes, 2 pence. 1 dinner and gratification, 2 shillings. 1 postal order and stamp, 1 shilling. I think it's 1 pence. Let's burn the light. Tram fare, 1 pence. 1 pig's foot, 4 pence. 1 sheep's trotter, 3 pence. 1 cakes, fries, plain chocolate, 1 pence. 1 scarce soda bread, 4 pence. Oh, that should be 1 shilling. 1 coffee and bun, 4 pence. Loan, Stephen Dedalus, refunded balance, £1, 7 shillings. Balance, 16 shillings and 6 pence. Total of £2, 19 shillings and 3. On the right hand side are credit. So should be doing this. Cash in hand. 4 shillings, 9 pence. Commissioned, received Freeman's Journal. £1, 7 shillings and 6 pence. Loan, Stephen Dedalus, £1, 7. So a total is £1, 19 shillings and 3 pence. Did the process of divestiture continue? And I'll give that over to Owen. I'll put on the light.
Did the process of divestiture continue? Sensible to a benignant, persistent ache in his foot soles, he extended his foot to one side and observed the creases, protuberances, and salient points caused by foot pressure in the course of walking repeatedly in several different directions. Then inclined, he disnoted the lace knots, unhooked and loosened the laces, took off each of his 2 boots for a second time, detached the partially moistened right sock from the fore part of which the nail of his great toe had again effracted, raised his right foot, and having unhooked the purple elastic sock suspender, took off his right sock, placed his unclothed right foot on the margin of the seat of the chair, picked at and gently lacerated the protruding part of the great toe, raised the part lacerated to his nostrils, and inhaled the odor of the quick, then, with satisfaction, threw away the lacerated ungual fragment. Why with satisfaction? Because the odor inhaled corresponded to the odor inhaled of other ungual fragments picked and lacerated by Master Bloom, pupil of Mrs. Ellis Juvenile School, patiently each night in the act of brief genuflection and nocturnal prayer and ambitious meditation. Next, would it be Dave? Dave Little?
Is Dave Little here? Yes, Dave Little's here. Yes.
In what ultimate ambition had all concurrent and consecutive ambitions now coalesced? Not to inherit by right of primogeniture, gavelkind or borough English, or possess in perpetuity an extensive demesne of a sufficient number of acres, roods and purchase, statute land measure, valuation £42, of gracing Turbury, surrounding a baronial hall with gate lodge and carriage drive, nor, on the other hand, a terrace house or semi-detached villa, described as rus in urbe, or qui si sana, but to purchase by private treaty in fee simple a thatched bungalow-shaped two-story dwelling house of southerly aspect, surmounted by vein and lightning conductor, connected with the earth, with porch covered by parasitic plants, ivy or Virginia creeper, hall door, olive green, with smart carriage finish, and neat door brasses, stucco front with gilt tracery at eaves and gable, rising, if possible, upon a gentle eminence with agreeable prospect from balcony with stone pillar parapet over unoccupied and unoccupiable interjacent pastures, and standing in 5 or 6 acres of its own ground, at such a distance from the nearest public thoroughfare as to render its house lights visible at night above and through a quick-set hornbeam edge of topiary cutting, situate at a given point not less than 1 statute mile from the periphery of the metropolis, within a time limit of not more than 15 minutes from tram or train line, example Dundrum, south or Sutton, north, both localities equally reported by trial to resemble the terrestrial poles, being favorable climates for fiscal subjects. The premises to be held under free farm grant, lease 999 years. The messuage to consist of 1 drawing room with bay windows, 2 lancets, thermometer affixed, 2 sitting room, 4 bedrooms, 2 servants' rooms, tiled kitchen with close range and scullery, lounge hall fitted with linen wall presses, fumed oak sectional bookcase containing the Encyclopedia Britannica and New Century Dictionary, transverse, obsolete, medieval, and oriental weapons, dinner gong, alabaster lamp, bowl pendant, vulcanite automatic telephone receiver with adjacent directory, hand-tufted Axminster carpet with cream ground and trellis border, loo table with pillar and claw legs, hearth with massive fire brasses and ormulo mantle chronometer clock, guaranteed timekeeper with cathedral chime, barometer with hygrographic chart, comfortable lounge settees and corner fitments, upholstered in ruby plush, with good springing and sunk center, 3-panner Japanese screen and cuspidors, club style, rich wine-colored leather, gloss renewable with a minimum of labor by use of linseed oil and vinegar, and by prismatic central chandelier luster, bentwood perch with finger-tame parrot, expurgated language, embossed mural paper at 10 pence per dozen, with transverse swags of carmine floral design and top crown frieze, staircase, 3 continuous flights at successive right angles, a varnished clear-grained oak, treads and risers, newel balusters, and handrail with stepped-up panel dado, dressed with camphorated wax, bathroom hot and cold supply, reclining and shower, water closet on mezzanine provided with opaque single-pane oblong window, tip-up seat, bracket lamp, brass tier rod and brace, armrest, footstool, and artistic oleograph on interface of door, ditto plane, servants' apartments with separate sanitary and hygienic necessaries for cook, general and between maid, salary rising by biennial unearned increments of £2, with comprehensive fidelity insurance, annual bonus £1, and retiring amount allowance based on the 65 system after 30 years service, pantry, buttery, larder, refrigerator, out offices, coal and wood cellarage with wine bin, still and sparkling vintages for distinguished guests, entertained to dinner, evening dress, carbon monoxide gas supply throughout. I'll call it
Very good.
Call it a day at that. By the way, the line after 10, is that pence? Is it 10 pence?
Shillings. Shillings.
Sorry?
Shillings.
Oh, it's shillings. Okay, thank you.
All right. Very good. All right. Perhaps we should go back and go over some of the material that we've read so far.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
And Doyle, I think you're on the Gabler edition like I am. Is that correct?
Yes.
Could you give me a starting point line as I came late, please?
Yeah. 1241.
1241.
Page
Right.
578.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 42 maybe.
Mhm, mhm.
Alone, what did Bloom hear?
Thank you very much.
The double reverberation of retreating feet on the heaven-born earth. The double vibration of a Jew's harp in the resonant lane.
Yeah. But Stephen walking away.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Oh, very good. And is Stephen playing the Jew's harp?
No, that just reminds him of the rhythms of the harp.
Okay.
Oh, very good.
It's a narrow lane, so there must be echo.
Okay. Thank you. And then I think the next thing is also alone. What did Bloom feel?
This goes back to what you said last week, Duncan,
Mm-hmm.
the story of Job,
Mm-hmm.
scale of the universe compared to the scales of his problem. And I was thinking about what you said afterwards, and Job is I think there's a message here from Joyce. Job is the religious epic, and then you have Homer, which is uh, the folk epic, and then you get Virgil, which is the first of the art epics. You
First
see,
of the art epics.
the art, yeah, in that the first 6 books of the Aeneid
Okay.
are distinctly different from the folk epics we've had from Greek literature. But Job is the start of them all. So we could stop off at Dante, we could stop off at a Hamlet on the way, but the ball is bouncing. Job, Homer, Virgil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, his hero is feeling all those things.
Mm-hmm.
I think, just doubling on what you said about
Yeah,
this.
no, I like that, and I like the idea that actually it's both. How can I put it? So this habit of Bloom's of widening the context.
Mm,
He's constantly widening the context, which has, I want to say two effects. One is to give him perspective, and the other is to, I think, let us know why that Bloom is a lonely fellow.
mm, mm,
Bloom wants to be with people. And so that was partial, at least a partial explanation of why he tried to take Stephen under his wing and even wanted Stephen to stay the night.
mm.
But Stephen left. And so Bloom is using this more cosmic thing as consolation as well as description of how he sees himself.
Mm. Yeah, you see,
Because actually,
Job is involved in a heroic journey. You know the how the good can suffer in this world and the evil can prosper. And it's natural for a man of Jewish extraction like Bloom to begin to equate himself with Job as a way of explaining his situation to himself. So he's, I think it's fantastic. It's reaching right back into his tradition.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I agree with you to that extent, but I would also say that this is actually the condition of all of us if we think about it.
Every man, yeah.
The and I think it does refer us to Job, and I think that the final part of Job is extremely important in helping us console ourselves with our actual condition. I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I don't know if Joyce went that far, but that's at least what I'm taking away from it.
Is this the guy that was in the belly of a whale?
No, that's Jonah.
Okay.
Job is the story of Job. Like, I think I can quickly delineate it.
Do
So
please.
basically, God and Satan are walking around, and
Mhm.
God is bragging about his follower Job. And Satan says, well, of course he loves you. You've given him everything. He's got a family, he's got children, he's got donkeys, he's got sheep, you know. Put him to the test. Make the man suffer. And then we'll see what he has to say about you. Are you remembering the story now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well,
Keep
anyway.
going, Duncan. You're doing good.
Continue,
Okay,
Duncan.
okay.
Yes, do.
Well, so Job, bad things happen. His family is killed. His livestock is stolen. He's, cast out away from all of his properties. He breaks out in boils.
Yeah, it's health. Yeah.
And he's kind of, he's in lamentation. And three so-called friends come. And they basically say, Job, you must have done something wrong that you're being punished this way. And Job says, no, I have not. I have followed the rules and I have praised the Lord and I've done everything right. I don't deserve this. And then as I remember it, someone may disagree with me here, he starts complaining to God.
Yeah.
And basically God comes down and says, listen, you miserable little worm, I'm your creator. You can't complain to me. Everything that you had was because of me. So don't complain. And then he goes, I created the Leviathan, I created the mountains, I created the stars, I created you. And then Job, as I understand it, kind of opens Job's mind a little bit. And at the end of it, Job is able to praise the Lord despite all of his hardships. And that when he gets to that stage, everything is restored to him.
Ah, I see. Thank you, Duncan. I didn't know that story.
Oh, it's a great story. It's
Yeah,
it's
it
well
is.
worth it's well worth reading in its entirety. And I would say that, of course, the King James version does a much better job than I do. But
No, you did a great job.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
great.
All done.
okay,
Like, obviously,
Joe
don't want to
Kenny,
contradict, but that's a lovely story. I was somewhat aware of it, but I just don't see. I don't see it in the book.
to follow up on Owen's question, Joel, I mean, I had something of the same. Are there any kind of textual clues or echoes that are directing us to Job that you're using to make your supposition?
No, I had never made the connection until it was pointed out last week. Duncan was saying that he's turning away from the conversation and the little sing song with Steve,
Okay, yeah.
and looking upwards at the sky, and
yeah.
we're going to get more of this, and seeing the universe compared with the scale of his problems, and that is, as pointed out, that, if you like, is the connection, as I understood you.
Yeah, and remember he did this just a couple of pages before
Yeah.
with even more detail.
And he's going to bring it right down to his problems now and very soon, or around the book. But
Yeah.
But
Well, even in the next thing here, where it says, where is that? It's Oh, where is that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The next thing, right below, along what did Bloom feel, goes, what did bell chime and hand touch and footstep and lone chill remind him?
Yeah.
Of companions, now in various manners in different places, defunct. Percy Apjohn, killed in action. Modern River. And then he goes through this litany of people who have died.
The Boer War, Percy Apjohn was killed in, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, whatever Modder River, whatever war that was in.
It was a Boer War site. It is on, you're right, Boer War.
Mm-hmm. And fistitis is, I've forgotten, I could look it up again.
It's tuberculosis.
TB, oh, right.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a common word for it? I never heard that word before, and I
I
have looked.
didn't either. I just looked it up a few minutes ago.
It was the medical word for it, and in death certificates, it would be the word that would be used.
Yeah.
But it's basically lung problems.
Okay.
You know, and it was, I mean, it was a amazingly common cause of death. I mean, even today, I think lung problems are number 3 or number 4. Though it doesn't get quite the publicity of cancer and heart.
My father was hospitalized for 6 months with it in the 60s.
Yeah.
Joe, you're probably familiar with people who were as well, are you?
Absolutely, yes. My godmother. Yeah. But of the 6 people here, 2 of them have tuberculosis. I'm counting 6.
Oh, yeah.
Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and there's two voices. So it's so much easier to say tuberculosis.
Sorry, Joe. I thought apoplexy was anger, rage.
Stroke.
I think that's the polite word they're using instead of drink.
Oh.
The certificate.
Let me look.
Yeah, when you say that a person is apoplectic,
Yeah.
You're talking about them being very, very upset. And then, you know, at least in Chinese medicine, I'm sure in Western medicine, more popular version, that apoplexy can easily lead to stroke.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
you're running, you're trying to get enough air.
If you look it up, it says a cerebral hemorrhage or stroke, or it can also be extreme anger.
Yeah,
there's 2 different.
I put the
bleeding.
definition. Oh, sorry, Ann.
Yeah, no,
I was
you're
just going to say,
perfect.
Ann, exactly what you said. I just posted it in the chat.
All right, sorry, I missed that.
Sorry.
Perfect. Yeah.
And Matthew F. Kane, I've been to his grave up there in Glasnevin, as I'm sure you have.
Good.
Joe.
Yeah.
And
he's what's his name in the Dubliners in here?
Can't remember. He's a few characters, isn't he?
He's in Dublin Castle. What's his name? Come on, the guy in Dublin Castle. We all know. Martin Cunningham.
All right.
Yeah, he's part of Martin Cunningham and others.
And then
whose grave is their own? Sorry,
Matthew F. Kane.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's worthwhile, and if you're out there,
yeah,
to go and have a look at Joyce's father's and mother's grave is there too, and a load of other people.
Yeah, nice.
And Pyemia, Pyema.
Okay, I have a note on that too, Owen. I have pus in the blood, a condition causing multiple abscesses throughout the body. And that would have been from Gifford, where the note came from.
Yeah.
Blood poisoning or something.
Yeah, sounds like it. I wonder what Sloat's got to say.
I don't think it's anything on it.
Let me do I'll do a Google search on. I'll put something in the chat.
Okay. Very good. I do think that the progression that happens here is kind of important. Yeah. You know, Stephen leaves. The first thing that Bloom does is as he starts thinking,
Yeah.
about other people. And then he goes alone. Alone, what did Bloom hear? And then Bloom is kind of, isolated in the universe at this time. But relationship is very, very important to him. And I would bring up, don't forget, he's got to go upstairs. His wife Molly is upstairs, and he's not sure. He has not resolved what he's going to do. And he actually never, I don't think he ever makes a decision before he actually gets upstairs and crawls into bed with her.
And he doesn't know what she's going to say.
Correct.
He may say,
Mm.
that could be her opening words. I'm out of this. You
Yeah.
know?
He doesn't know what kind of reception he's going to get.
Wyland was great. We're going to run off together.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Anyway, he feels alone. He can't, he did not, he has no one to talk to about his predicament. Although, all kinds of people in the community are constantly gossiping about him and his wife. But
Right.
he is isolated. That's one reason why he wanted to be a father to Stephen, and he wanted to be a friend to Stephen, because he wants a connection besides his wife, I think. So he's
Sorry.
No, please, Dave.
I was just going to say, Owen, I thought that was a little bit of a pause here. I did put the definition of pyema in the chat.
Sure.
So it's a blood poisoning.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Yeah, still a very important disease.
God.
Still a very important disease. Septic poisoning is pretty horrible. Okay, so anyway, they got those people. Then after he imagines all these people dead, where does he go? Back to the cosmos.
What prospect of the phenomena inclined him to remain? Did this apparition of three final stars, the diffusion of daybreak, the apparition of the new solar disk?
Yeah.
I think there's something in there in that. I read it in this a while ago.
Disposition of the three final stars.
Yeah. Sloat says on that is the Jewish traditional definition of nighttime. When night comes on slowly, when you can see three stars, it's night. And
Okay.
three stars, it's not night yet. Well, this is dawn coming the other way around.
So I guess it works both ways.
Yeah, and the sun is beginning to appear. It's promising to appear. It's just below the horizon. The sun actually never fully sets on the 16th of June in Dublin.
The apparition of a new solar disk.
Yeah, and we heard the clock for 2:30, and it's probably about 3:00 now. And it's beginning to lighten. So he's noticing the brightening of the day, which is the next question. Had he ever been a spectator of the brightening of the day? And people do that in Dublin in June. They don't go to bed sometimes. If you're say you're 19 years of age, you're at a party, you're not going to bed. You go home at 4 a.m, in the bright daylight.
Does this not also, though, indicate Bloom's aloneness?
Oh, yeah.
It's been 7 years since he's seen this phenomena.
Yes. Good point. Good point. 87.
I'll put it to you that what I think the disparition of the final three stars, and I don't have my mind. I'll put forward and then we can discuss, because I'm not fully convinced of my own point. I think that's Stephen's disappearance out of the book and his ascension into heaven.
Yeah.
That Stephen's ascension into heaven?
Well, it was this. Yeah, this is according to
Rhymes that book.
Harry Blamiers. Now he quotes it as somewhere else, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
He said, "Thus Stephen Christ leads man out of bondage to sin and error. Incarnation, crucifixion, and redemption have been variously represented in the text throughout the day. And the moment is right now for Christ's departure, i.e. Stephen. I.e. Stephen is me putting that in there.
Yeah.
From the world of men. Thus the scene is set for the ascension into heaven."
Yeah.
Now he puts it as in the heaven tree of stars hung with humid night blue fruit. But
Yeah.
I'm putting it that is it. That is Stephen's final appearance in this book. Correct me, please.
Well,
Why I'm wrong.
that case is made. That case has been made. There are papers on that around that subject.
Oh, has there? Oh,
I personally found them all very far-fetched, but certainly that is a viewpoint that people,
Yeah, I would also use far-fetched,
yeah,
but I would say psychologically speaking, if we were to take this and put it as happening to Stephen
yeah,
as well as to Bloom, in Stephen's case, Stephen has made his escape.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's made contact, but the reality is that Stephen, unlike Bloom, who's alone and doesn't want to be alone, Stephen, to a great extent, he wants to be alone.
Yeah.
His heaven is I'm going too far now. His heaven is to be alone so he can think his thoughts and create his creations.
Yeah.
That's Stephen's heaven.
Yeah.
Now, and maybe I'm missed the mark, but in terms of going to heaven, how can a good Catholic boy who has just left a brothel go directly to heaven without at least a detour into purgatory?
All right, well, here, let me be outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
Bloom was his purgatory.
Mere presence in a brothel is not a sin, James. And
would be.
our hero did nothing in the brothel to warrant eternal.
It would be the occasion of a sin, Joe, and a good Catholic boy should always avoid the occasion of sin.
Yes, but okay.
Well, in that case, my good teacher, Father Cassan, was a regular sinner because his job in Dublin was to counsel prostitutes by visiting them at their place of work. And he used to operate a confessional in a brothel.
Really?
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh man, somebody needs to write a short, at
Well,
least a short story
to the
on that.
man's credit, to the man's credit, but that for him that wasn't the occasion of sin. He was administering the sacrament of penance.
Maybe Stephen was in his own way doing that.
No, Joyce was well known for visiting brothels.
Yes, remember Bridie
He
Kelly.
was.
Yeah,
But that was Bloom.
But you don't think Stephen, because he didn't
It was probably,
go to his mother's, pray for his mother, whatever it was at her
yeah.
death,
Yeah.
that was something that stayed with him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
So everybody can be funny about, he's visiting brothels and all that. And in true Catholic tradition, that's not really a sin because you can go and confess it and then you receive absolution and all's well in the world as long as the priest doesn't talk. And but the fact that his mother died without him, that's a guilt thing.
Mhm.
That's offensive.
Yeah. Well, it definitely has come up very strongly for him multiple times in the book. But my argument is that the heaven that Owen is referring to is a psychological heaven where that Stephen is not at every moment at all times fixated on his guilt for not praying as his mother's request. Stephen is also, as he portrayed himself in Portrait of an Artist as a young man, Stephen's main role, main view of himself is that he is an artist who's going to forge the blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Mm.
And like I say, if I can follow through just for a second, so let's say that Stephen throughout the day he had been visiting, shall we say, the Inferno. Let's call the Circe chapter the Inferno. And then he leaves, Bloom rescues him from there, and then he has to he has to put up with Bloom.
Mm.
He develops some affection for Bloom, but he's hung over, he's tired, he's been knocked down, and Bloom is preaching to him
Yeah.
for much of Ithaca. I mean, really, Bloom is a tiresome old dude from Stephen's point of view. And then, that continues through most of Ithaca. And I think that Stephen develops some affection for Bloom and perhaps a real friendship, although an unusual one. But he's still glad that he refused to stay at Bloom's house, and he is now back in the streets going who knows where, but he's in a kind of heaven. He has gathered his artistic materials for the day, so to speak. And anyway, this is kind of a tentative argument that I'm making here.
Duncan, I think just as to kind of speak to your point, we need to keep in mind as well that Bloom is merely the latest in a series of people during the day who've tried to give Stephen advice, and at this point he may be getting very tired of it. Stephen
Yeah,
has
well,
received no
he's
shortage
glad.
of advice all day.
Yeah. He's glad to get away from Bloom, but Bloom became more interesting, I think, right at that point where Stephen tested him by
Yeah.
singing this outrageous poem about the little Jewish girl that cut off the head of the little Christian boy. And I think Bloom passed the test.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, Stephen, being an artist, I mean, one of the factors of a true artist, in my opinion, is the ability to be alone with one's emotions and thoughts and to use one's experiences to create something new. Now, for the moment, I'm holding to that story. And would be glad to hear refutations, contradictions, any of that stuff. But if I was Stephen, if I was imagining myself as Stephen, and I had just refused to stay at the house, at Bloom's house, I don't know what I would be like 2 hours after I left, but I would be very relieved to have made my getaway.
Yeah.
Because at least in my world, an essential part of an artist is to go and gather stuff and then to go where one is alone with one's thoughts and to start pondering it. And that's a kind of heaven for an artist, I think.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I agree. I think you are. I think that's absolutely the essence of what Joyce is getting to, because that is the whole point of Stephen. Everything is about his art.
I can't hear you all that well, Joel.
That is the essential point about Stephen and Joyce, that everything is about his art. Nothing must get in the way of his art.
Right.
He says that in portrait much better than I'm saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Non serviam.
Yeah, but also relationships, friendships, nothing.
Right.
And that he could not bring himself to conform to his mother's request because it would be to perform a falsehood in terms of his art. That was, and that's the highest point. And he's going off now in a very nice time of the day, in the June, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's very peaceful, beautiful. You're there with your own thoughts, and he's going off to write a poem about it, or something.
Yeah. To do something, and it's very fascinating to me that actually, if you look at the traditions, the meditative traditions among the Catholic members of the serious members of the Catholic Church, the brothers, the priest.
Yeah.
You look at the Buddhist tradition, their form of meditation, the Hindu tradition, and on and on and on. Much of that always happens at that hour of the morning. You get up, I remember for a brief time, I'm not a good member of anything, but for a brief time, I did belong to a yoga group, and we got up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
To meditate. That was the prime time to get into a meditative position and to absorb, etc., etc.
And that's what the contemplative orders do. The Cistercians, they rise at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. to pray. And if you talk to monks, that's what they say. That is the best time of the day. That is the experience of being a monk happens at 2 and 3 a.m.
Well, if I could say something, I work as an airline pilot and I work early shifts and I'm out of bed at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we have a choice between doing early shift or late shift. And I've done my fair share of earlies. I'm not doing them anymore. I'm doing the late shift. There is nothing to be gained by getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, in my opinion.
Well, probably not a thing like flying an aircraft, but this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about meditation. Very
I've done a
different.
few Vipassana retreats where you go and you live the life of a Buddhist monk for 9 days, I think. And they have us up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And maybe I did benefit, but to be honest, could I keep that up? No, I could not.
You never know, you might go back to it.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I'm not quite ready just yet, Joe.
No, I know the feeling.
Well, I think it's interesting that Stephen has to go off on his own to have his own thoughts, but Joyce couldn't do it without Nora Barnacle. So, his creative process was enabled by the fact that she went off with him. She took the adventure.
Yeah.
Stephen is going off on his own, but maybe maybe somewhere else he meets someone, or is it Bloom who cannot live on his own and has to go home to Molly, has to stay with Molly?
Well, we will find out when we go to the next couple of pages. We're going to find out where Bloom is at. He makes it very explicit with his fantasy of the future. But remember, I think I would contend that actually Stephen Stephen made his most human contact of the day with Bloom, even though he refused to stay at Bloom's house.
Right.
He knows as he leaves, he knows, I think, that he could come back and knock on the door. And,
You're right there. I didn't think about that because it says they shook hands. Is that the only human contact that Stephen has had during the day?
I think so, but it's one of those things where, I need to reread the book another 4 or 5 times, looking for that. But I think it is the only human contact, and I think it's the most benevolent contact he's had during the day with another human being.
It's an unhygienic handshake. Even without COVID, you recommend wash your hands.
This is after the urination, is it?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's true.
And he hasn't washed since October anyway.
Well, yes, yeah. Well, he's a, what is he, a hydrophobe?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's a handshake is respect as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
As against how he left everybody else from in the morning, when they went to the 40 foot, all through the day. There was never a handshake or anything. This is the first time. When he left the school in Dalkey, there was no handshake. Everybody he met throughout the day, there was nothing.
Yeah. As far as I can see, that's the only time he touches anyone.
Mm.
Interesting.
We
But
had
sorry, Owen, that's what's wonderful about it, because the next time you reread it, we'll be always looking for the handshake or for
Right,
communication.
what physical contact, and also
Mm.
what type of verbal contact. I mean, most of
Mm.
Stephen's conversations throughout the day is either him, trying to prove his brilliance verbally, or rejecting people,
Mm.
or acting superior to people, or teasing them. I mean, and I think, although it was not perfect in the Ithaca section, it's a little bit of a weird conversation, but I basically feel like it's the kind of conversation that you have with somebody who you've met, and you're kind of feeling each other out. You're kind of going, well, this person's kind of interesting. I wonder what this is going to develop into. And I think, and I'll go back to the thing again after the weird little song about the little Jewish girl cutting off the little Christian boy's head. And Bloom is shocked by it, but Bloom shows reserve and is not okay with it, but he's willing to remain with Stephen in spite of Stephen's outrageous song. And then they go out, then Stephen refuses Bloom's hospitality, but they go out in the yard, and and this is interesting, I think, they pee. Very physical. It's a very physical event connected to the earth. So at the same time they're peeing, they're looking at the stars.
Hmm.
And now I'll be more outrageous to me because of my influence from what little bit I know of Chinese culture. In the hexagram of the I Ching, there are 6 lines. The 2 upper lines represent heaven, cosmos, if you will. The 2 lower lines represent earth, matter, weight. The 2 middle lines represent humans.
Hmm.
And the symbolic idea is that we are various combinations of heavenly influences and earthly influences. So when I read about them being in the backyard and they're peeing on the ground and they're looking at the stars at the same time, you know, um, my weird little interpretation is they are establishing themselves as human beings.
Hmm.
And then Stephen says he's going. They shake hands. Stephen leaves. Stephen goes off with his thoughts. Bloom is remaining with his thoughts. There is I think, an implicit promise of a future relationship.
Well, on the point that you made earlier, and I guess it ties in with what you just said, Stephen's met a number of people during the day, and they're often after him for something material, a key, money. His sister wants money, drinks for sure. Bloom, on the other hand, offers him hospitality. Rather than trying to take his money, he safeguards Stephen's money. And so at the end of the day, Bloom's probably the most benign person he's met. But I think it was Joel who pointed out, still a threat to his artistic integrity.
Hmm.
But in the series of people he meets during the day, Bloom's probably the best to him.
Okay. Yeah.
We didn't get very far in our exploration of what we read, did we? Many pages.
Well, we got, let's see, what are we doing? Well, we got half a page.
Yeah,
That's good going for us.
yeah. I'm
Some
discovering
days,
on
yeah.
I'm discovering on that my participation in the group really slows things down. Because last week when I wasn't here,
I think
moved at warp
we can-
speed.
Perfect.
But personally for me, I mean, I will say it again, and again. These deep explorations, I think, set us up for a more complete and more
Thorough?
more complete and, in a sense, more mystical relationship with the book.
Mm.
So what happens next then? Anyway, he
So I
goes
think
back into the house.
to answer your question, on it says that 17 years ago he'd seen sunrise, right? Looking east.
Yeah, so 1897.
1880, yeah.
87.
It starts at 87, so 10 years is 97. And then you add on to 1902,
17.
or 17 years. That's incredible.
Not really, because we're usually in bed.
I know. I'm like, if I have to see the dawn, it's been a bad day for me.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I'm sure you've seen it more than twice in the last 17 years.
I don't know.
Mm,
You don't know?
Yeah, maybe catching an early flight. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe I have.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe it's just me, because I live in a place where I see the sunrise and the sunset quite often.
Duncan, you have a different latitude. It probably doesn't change a lot for where you are. It changes quite a lot where we are at 56 degrees north.
Okay. Well, then
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. And yeah, for sure, because I'm just a degree south of you where I live. So yeah, at 9 in the morning you see dawn here in the winter. Yeah, I take your point.
So you see,
The window in my classroom used to face east, so I would see the sun come up when I was teaching near the solstice, near the winter solstice.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're right. You're right. I guess I have. I was thinking in the summertime when it is so early. It's about 4:30 here.
Yeah.
What he's really saying is that when was the last time he was out all night? And that was when he was 20 years of age. He was at a protracted performance of charades in Luke Doyle's.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when was the last time I was at an all-night party? It was probably when I was about 20 years of age. Like, it's one thing to get up for a flight. You're not standing out in the garden looking up at the sky, and you're busy trying to get your bag together and find your ticket. But to have that moment of plenty of time in your hands and you're out there watching the dawn and you've had a nice evening. Yeah, it's 20 years ago when he was roughly the age Stephen is.
Hmm.
I don't think that's by any means an unusual event that it should be so long.
No.
It doesn't mean he's long. It means he's been busy and married.
Hmm. I do love this description though, where it says he remembered the initial paraphenomena,
Yeah.
more active air, a matutinal distant cock, ecclesiastical clocks, blah 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 blah. You know, and that's a memory from 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Avine music must be the dawn chorus.
Birds, yeah. And look, lads, here comes a bow. See it? The bow, the first golden limb of the sun.
Hmm. First golden limb of the resurgent sun, perceptibly low on horizon.
Rising.
There's the weapon
Mm-hmm.
of Ulysses. Don't know how many bows we've had now. I used to tell people there were 3 in this. I think we've about 6.
Okay. So he's outside, and then it says, did he remain? Which I guess it means, did he remain outside? With deep inspiration, he returned, retraversing the garden, re-entering the passage, reclosing the door.
Yeah.
With brief suspiration, he resumed the candle, reascended the stairs, reapproached the door of the front room, hall floor, and re-entered.
I wonder what reassumed the candle means.
Picked it up maybe and walked up the
Yeah,
stairs.
I think the candle was burning inside the room.
Candle is still alight. Okay,
Right.
so he's still got a
They
candle.
left it burning.
I guess the deal is they wouldn't want to take the candle out if they're going out to have a leak. You know, you maybe want to leave that inside.
Yeah, but would you extinguish it? No, you just put it down and went out. And now it's getting bright.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I gotta leave just for anyone who wants to be into the email group. Do you want to put your email in there? Jim or Dave, email because we're
Yeah.
having a
and Orla,
Orla, we're having a walk Sunday week or Saturday week.
Okay. If you want to shut off the Zoom, I'll put mine in.
Oh yes, right.
But I'm happy to do so. But if you could take us off the Zoom first, I'd appreciate it.
Take off
Oh,
YouTube, you mean?
You know, nobody sees the chat.
They don't?
No, you can't see the chat.
Okay, I didn't know that.
You can't see the chat.
Okay.
Okay, there's my email gone in. So jimmy.o'sullivan@ul.ie.
I mightn't be able to go on Saturday the 8th because I might be getting my gas boiler
13th.
put in. Oh, it's the 13th now, is it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Saturday the 13th.
Lucky 13.
Okay, for some. Just give me a chance to copy these emails before we cut out.
Take a photograph, Joe.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to take a screenshot. It's easier.
Just
Oh.
bear with me. I don't have.
So next week is 9/11.
Okay, good night, guys. Thanks again for great reading.
Take
Good night,
care.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Owen.
I've got Jim's in.
Bye, Owen.
Have a good week.
David, you want it as well? You're coming to Dublin.
Well, no one told me to put it in, and I missed the beginning of the meeting, so you could ask me anything, and I'd go for it.
We'll continue. We'll send the jet for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll send Owen over.
you'll find out what it is, but I doubt you'll be coming over for the group.
Okay, fair enough. I just
Field
wasn't
trip.
sure. Missed the first 15. So, can you, before signing off, can I talk to Joe for like 60 seconds?
Yeah, so the rest of us can let ourselves out.
Okay, where are we
Actually, what I'll
starting next
do-
week? Do
Okay,
we
okay,
have a-
I do have it marked.
Okay,
I do have it marked. And I've
Where-
got it marked
So
at
your
what
host-
suddenly arrested his ingress. And so that's about line 1275.
okay, so we'll read a lot of it over again.
Right.
Oh, God.
So your host, I'm gone. Have
Hang
a good chat. Hopefully you'll see you at Lear tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Lear. Yeah. If you go, can I still talk to Joe?
Okay, who have I got? I've got
Yes, I made you host.
Jim.
Okay, sounds good.
Dave, I've got Trish,
Mhm.
Dave. I've got Orla. Anyone else I've missed? Anyone else? That's everyone. Okay.
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 Good night, everyone.
Don't go, Joe.
No, I'm not going.
Okay, I have a couple questions for you. First of all, were you born a British subject?
No, but I was born in 1947, which means I'm entitled to a British passport, which is an option I've never taken up.
Right. Okay, because 47 was the year of the Republic, correct?
When was the year of the Republic, Jim? It was
48, I think.
48, was it?
Okay,
I think
fair
so,
enough.
yeah.
All right, here's another question for you two guys from a Canadian. When the Irish Free State was established circa 1921, did you continue on with British money for the time being?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
British money circulated freely here at pound for pound value until 1970s, roughly.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Oh, the decimalization, I think. Yeah, that's right, Joe.
So it's parity with the sterling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my other question. Before you went on the euro, were you on a dollar system like in Australia and us in the States, or were you pounds and shillings?
With an Irish pound, which had
So
parity.
yeah. Okay.
And
Which had 100 pence.
shops will, like, especially around the border area, people accept sterling, and people north of the border, like I pay a person up there who's a writer, and I pay in euro, and she's
Right, okay.
delighted to get euro, and like she talks
Except-
euro, she sends her invoice.
Except for a friend of mine who was on a cycling trip and he went into the wrong shop. Well, don't take Free State currency here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Get the odd one of that, I suppose. But there you go.
Yeah.
Good enough. Good enough. And then final question, your flag, it just occurred to me. The orange and the green on your flag. So that's Catholic and Protestant. That's the aspiration, right? That people live
That's
together.
nationalist, peace, and
Okay.
unionist.
Mhm. Yeah.
Unionism. So that's peace between unionism and nationalism. That's what the flag stands for.
Okay, right on. Okay.
You would never think it. You see it at all these paramilitary funerals. And
Oh, that's right.
That's right. And on the 12th of July, it's burnt on the top of a bonfire.
Yeah, but that's the meaning of it. So it's actually a flag of peace.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks. I appreciate this. I guess as host, I'll sign off.
What
Okay.
are you thinking of applying for nationality?
Oh no, just these questions come up. Yeah, I just because you're there, and I guess if there were a bunch of Kenyans here, I'd be asking them questions about their country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Curious, I guess. Yeah. Okay, Jim. Just a reminder, Lear tomorrow if you can join us.
Okay, I don't think I will, Dave, but thanks
Okay,
for
fair
the
enough.
invitation.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see you folks next week then. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Good night, folks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No, she can wake it now.